Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. The dev server has been updated and there has been a bunch of changes that have happened to it. So I thought we'd go over some of them when it comes to the dev server. And the first one we're going to have a look at is a new aircraft which is coming in for China. This vehicle is the Su-30MKK, and it's another premium Su-30, so it joins the likes of the Russians, who got obviously the Su-30MK2 AMV and the Su-30SM, and also the Japanese that in this update got the Su-30MKM. So China is now joining the party with its own premium. I'd be very surprised if this vehicle isn't a pack premium or a pre-order, since it is such a high BR and also is at the rank 8 of the game. In my opinion, with additions like these Su-30s, it really feels like Gaijin is setting up for next year, adding in rank 9 of aviation, just so these make the most sense in terms of efficiency to the rest of the game. Now, the Su-30MKK, it is 13.3 in air battles, it's also 12.3 in ground battles, so it's probably very similar to the premium one that you see in the Russian tech tree. Now, looking at its internals, it has the N001 VEP radar. This has access to TWS. It can target up to 10 at the same time. It does not have the ESA capability, and it can only follow 2 data link targets at the same time, with 6 missiles shown. It does have the ground mode though, so kind of follows all of the other radars with that, but overall it seems like an okay radar. The search zone is absolutely tiny, but at least the range is quite nice. Now, looking at the RWR that this has access to, it has the L150-14. This is also okay for the BR, and also you can see it has HMS and 2 pilots, which isn't too surprising on this specific vehicle. It also is backed up by the 30mm GSH-30-1 cannon, and you have the Saturn AL-31Fs, which are pretty standard on the Su-30 or, around the Su-27 variant series as well. And since it is an Su-30, the rest of it is just made of fuel, which shouldn't surprise anybody at all. So overall, the vehicle is looking very similar to what we've seen before. Now, the other part of it, which I think is also worth looking at, is the, the ammunition and also secondary armaments that this thing gets access to. Since it's a premium, you get all the modifications for free. Some of the standouts, there's no more on this thing. So the 96 large caliber countermeasures, you'll have to just manage yourself, which generally I feel is quite fine. And then if we have a look at the secondaries, they're very much set up like you would find on other vehicles of the premium area. You have some R73s on these pylons. You also have access to the RVVAE, which is the R77. You can see that this vehicle can actually take only 6 of them, which is a little bit less than what we've seen from other variants of this. You can take 6 of the R73s if you want, and then the ETs of the R27 series, you can also bring in 2. You can bring the R27 ER1s as well, which are very good semi-active radar homing missiles, but I think most people are just going to go for the R77s. These are the export variants of the R77s, which is why I'm calling it those. But yeah, so overall, your setup can be this, with 4 R73s and 6 R77s, and that means you have 10 missiles in total instead of the higher amounts that you see on the higher tier Russian aircraft. You also have a bunch of different guided munitions, including the CAB 1500s, the big old bombs. You also have the KH-29TDs, which are the TV guided missiles, which are just worse than the KH-38s, but generally still very powerful, as long as you have the good optics. And then, as you can see, we have the KH-59MEs. These are TV IOG missiles with a HE warhead, and you can see they have quite a big one, 190 kilos. But I'm pretty sure these are more designed for stuff like ships and things like that, but also at the same time, if you can get the actual, targeting done on it, it would be absolutely fantastic for this vehicle, just doing a lot of damage to stuff. You also get some more kind of TV-guided munitions as well, so this will be a pretty good CAS aircraft if you're able to sort that out. Also, with the premiums, it's always funny how they kind of like mix and match these things with standard vehicles. They don't do this because I'm guessing they're trying to make it as accessible as possible to somebody who doesn't understand how the secondary armament stuff works on it. But yeah, so that's the general idea. Now, the other parts of the vehicle to talk about is obviously its maneuverability. This vehicle is going to be the standard Su-30 experience. You know, you're going to bring a lot of fuel with it because it's going to burn it quickly. You're going to give it access, you know, to as much as you can. And then also you have all of the secondary features, such as the really high mobility that you can turn on and off with the vehicle. You can see here at the bottom of the screen, you know, you have the sight stabilization. It has a thermal camera that is right here, and good zoom as well, so you can use these with the KH-59s if you want. And then also you don't have the cockpit yet, but I'm sure it'll be added at some point. The major thing is just giving China access its own Su-30, which seems to be a vehicle that is being farmed out all over the place in War Thunder, which isn't too surprising. It is kind of a vehicle which is heavily exported to a bunch of different nations. So to see it come in War Thunder doesn't really shock me, you know. It's not something which is too surprising. So just to show, like, the actual big missiles, you know, you can literally just target them on any point that you want. So it's all about how much you see, and as long as you're going lower than Mach 1, sorry, that's my bad. And the issue is them actually tracking in terms of this, and you can see them going in. The KH-59s, I'm pretty sure, are available on other platforms previously, and one of the things that's interesting is they don't actually have that much of a long burn on them, so they burn very quickly, and then you have to just like chuck them in and see what kind of happens. And I think, at least for me, that's pretty interesting because it's harder to see them come in compared to other munitions that you'll see from the Russians and also other areas. So yeah, China's getting another premium at its high echelons, and this one is going to be a lot more useful in my opinion than the JH-7. It is definitely more designed around ground stuff, but also with all of the R-77s, you'll be able to use it in air too. And also, the other thing to mention is the Su-30 is just kind of a beautiful aircraft. Like the Russian designs of these large, you know, internal fuel vehicles, they are something that, at least for me, I do enjoy quite a lot. I still think the American aircraft look better, but it's nice to have actually some uniqueness. And with the J-10 coming in and being tiny, it's kind of fun to also have a big vehicle for China. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.